Last Sunday, as we celebrated the Solemnity of the Pentecost, we witnessed the end of the 50 glorious days of Easter. And as we've segued back into ordinary time, the church asks us to ponder, to meditate, and to reflect on the life of the Trinity. Now, when I was in graduate school and I took a course just on the Trinity, I did very well in it, but I do admit this. I was more confused about the life of the Trinity after than I was before. A God who is manifest. One God, two natures, three persons, four relations. Pretty light stuff. Let's see where we can go with this. The late Cardinal Richard Cushing, when he was a young priest, is rumored to have responded to an elderly gentleman who was dying in a store. Cardinal Cushing went to give last rites, extreme unction, as it was called back then. The man was seemingly unconscious on the floor, and Cardinal Cushing, Father Cushing at that time, went over and whispered into the man's ear, "My dear son, do you believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth?" The man opened one eye and he said, "I'm dying and you're going to ask me a riddle?" The life of the Trinity, the life of the Trinity is a great mystery. And really the only way that we can begin to comprehend the Trinity and all of its complexity is to think about what it is all about. It's all about something very common to each and every one of us. Not one of us here will ever escape being in a relationship. Husbands and wives, parents to your children, nieces and nephews to uncles and aunts, friends, employee to employer. You get the drift, right? We live in a society, and predicated in society is the fact that we are all in relationship with one another. Sometimes those relationships are really good, aren't they? Yeah. And then, sometimes the relationships aren't so good. For example, you haven't spoken to your sister for the last 30 years because she insulted your banana bread. I did not make that up. That is really true. Someone I know has not spoken to her sister for 30 years because her banana bread recipe was insulted. Of course, then there are the more serious types of relationships that break up, divorce, things like that. But sometimes our relationships, we're so willing to just leave them aside. We give up. We think, too much work. What we see in the relationship of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit is not just something unique, but it's special to us because we live and move and have our being in that same God. Think about it for a moment. Each of us here, safe to assume, has been baptized. If you walked in the front door of the church or you came in the side, you probably, without even thinking about it, dunked your fingers in the holy water font or in the little fonts and blessed yourself. What you were really doing, if you'd like me to tell you, is you were reminding yourself of the fact that you live in a divine existence. Wow. Yes, each of us, as baptized men and women into the mystical body of Jesus Christ, share in this divine life. And because of that, because of the perfect life, because of the perfect relationships that exist in the one Godhead, we too, without even realizing it, are capable of making our other relationships better. We need God's help to do that. We can't do it on our own. Relationships. Relationships. Don't you wish sometimes you just want to go hide under a rock because you don't want to see anybody anymore? But our relationships are what bring us love. It's how we experience God here and now. He puts people into our lives so that we can grow in holiness. And you might say to me, yeah, but have you seen my family? Those are the ones who are supposed to make you holy. Think about it. You didn't get to choose your family. You only get to choose your friends. Our families should bring us and lead us to greater holiness. As we reflect on this life that we live in, next time you make the sign of the cross, next time you dip your fingers in holy water, remember who you really are and whose life you live in and whose life lives in yours.